I'm Erin Bassett with Faber-Castell, and I'm going to be showing you how to make some pieces that you can cut out and applique onto your canvas bag, so it'll be really fun and messy. So to get started, let's put our canvas bag aside, and we're going to be using some sticky back canvas. And this is great because it's self-adhesive on the back once you peel off the layer. So we'll be working on those to create our letters. So for this background, we're going to start off by using all these beautiful gelatos. We got black cherry, raspberry, metallic grape, lavender, passion fruit, and snow cone. So we're going to be using all those gelatos. I'm going to take each one of them and use my handy dandy spatula to just slice off a chunk of them. And we're working on a relatively small space today, so we don't need too much of them. If you're using a full sheet of sticky back canvas, you'll want to use more gelatos. Oh, those look so pretty together. I love those colors. So now we're going to be using some gel medium, and we're going to mix that with each color of gelatos. So I'm going to start by just mashing these down with my spatula. And you want to make sure you clean off your spatula between each color so you don't contaminate them. Okay, now I'll just add a touch of the gel medium to each of the colors. So now the fun thing is to find which stencil you want to use. And I'll be using the 101 stencil collection. And it comes with all these great ones. You can see the designs at the front of the packaging. And so we're just going to use each one in a different color to color our sticky back canvas. So before I get going putting those onto my sticky back canvas, I'm just going to add a little bit of paper on the background of that just to give it a little bit more dimension and interest. So I'm just going to rip some off, and I'm going to use gel medium to adhere it. It makes a great adhesive. So we'll just slap some on there and put some on top too. It kind of seals it in. And I'm going to be covering this up so you don't really have to worry about where it goes or anything like that. Okay, so now we're ready to put some stencils on, and I like ones that have the bigger surface area. There's some that have smaller designs in here, and I'll layer those on top. But this is just kind of gets you started on that. So I'm going to start with the lighter colors first because I'm just going to keep using my same foam tool to just work it. So they are going to mix slightly as I go along. And I just want to mix that gel and the gelatos together, and then you can just put it right on. And you know what? You can use your fingers as well if you don't want to mix those colors up. And it doesn't have to be everywhere. Let me scooch this away. Try different directions of it and just vary it up. One stencil down, let's pick another one. This zigzag one is really fun, so I'm going to use the next color on that one. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to let this dry with a heat tool. Okay, so now that we have our sticky back canvas dry, we're going to add a little bit of more interest to it by putting some pen marks on. And I'm going to use a Pitt pen for this. Okay, let's see, let's try those triangles again. And I don't want it to be overlapping exactly. I want it to be a little off. And you can try different marks on there. You can do little dashes, like little sewing marks. You can do, you know, a full little line. And just kind of add them randomly all over. Once we cut apart our letters, you probably won't even know it's a triangle. Okay, so we added a little bit more to that one. And now we are ready to add some just kind of speckles. And I'm going to use, let's see, some gesso for that. I'll just give it a little bit of splatter. Okay, I'm going to use my water brush and some gesso. I'm just going to put a little bit on there and then flick it with my finger. And it'll just give it a very small little splattering on there. Okay, so I'm just gonna heat that with a heat tool real quick. Okay, so now we're ready to cut out our letters. And I went to my computer and printed out a fun font that's kind of chunky letters. And these don't need to be exact when you cut them out. So we're just gonna put it on top and use some fine point scissors just so that we can get in there a little easier. And I like to cut each letter apart, just gives you a little bit easier hold of them. And again, you don't have to follow exactly along. In fact, if you had a die cutting machine, you could use that if you're not a fussy cutter. Okay, so once we cut out our letters, we're ready to adhere it to the bag. And you know, like I said, this is sticky back canvas, so it does have some stick to it, but because we're gonna be using this bag every day, we want it to really stick on there. So we're gonna use some gel medium on the back too, just to make sure it's stuck on there really good. So I'm just gonna use my finger to just put a little bit on there. And now, the fun part, we're gonna get some spackle, and this is whip spackle, and inside you can see it's nice and fluffy. So I'm gonna use that one with the circles on it, the stencil, and I'm gonna start off by using it just plain, and then we'll put a colored one over it using, let's try the metallic grape. Okay, so I'm just gonna chop off a chunk of the metallic grape. And we'll mix in a little bit of the whip spackle. And that way we can color it to be custom with the gelatos and whip spackle. Okay, so now let's put our stencil onto our bag. And let's see if I can make this a little flatter right there. And we're gonna start by putting some of just the plain white whip spackle. And you want it to be a thicker coat. You don't want it to be super thinned out. You want to be able to see it. And I'm going to overlap onto my letters just a wee bit. Okay, so if I have that on that corner, I'm going to come down here and put some more. And if you get a little bit of the Gelatos color off your stencil, it's okay. It'll blend right in since it's the same project. Okay, very cool. Now let's go ahead and put some of the purple over it. So I'm gonna line that back up. And this is just a nice light coat. You don't want to push too deep or else you'll get rid of all the white underneath. And when I lift that off, I can use one of my texture cards. And this has so many different textures you can choose from. There is 8 of them, 8 different textures. And I'm just gonna use number 1, and I'm just gonna drag it right across. And you can see it gives it just a little texture on there. Very cool, huh? A little white peeking through. So let's add some of the purple on this one. And again, use our texture card, but just drag it over that purple, revealing the white underneath. And there is our crafty bag.